2024 with the same problems that you had at the beginning of 2023. Okay? You are disappointed in yourself, you're beating yourself up, you're overthinking, you are just spinning your wheels on why you're just still exactly where you were 365 days ago, right? And so now there's all this pressure, you see all this marketing everywhere. Best year of your life. Get the body of your dreams, get the job of your dreams, get the man of your dreams, get the woman of your dreams, get the family of your dreams, get the traveling of your dreams. And you were already on that type of time a year ago, right? So this is the thing, and I want to make sure I'm going to go, because this is going to be a live Q&A. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. I'm happy to dive deep, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, we're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to dive deep today. Look, I'm standing like I'm standing. So this is not a game. We're going to actually unlock some stuff. Okay, I just want to make sure I can read your questions right here. So we're going to unlock some stuff today, and I am really excited because I'm going to start going live. I just have some extra time off, so for the next 10 days straight, don't quote me, but I'm going to go live for the next 10 days straight for however long God sees for the live to go. So I'm super excited about that. And we're going to dive deep. Okay. We're going to dive deep. So the thing is, in life, we don't understand our seasons, right? Like, it's not like you're handed a blueprint. It's like, okay, so in season 7, you're going to be in that season for 7 months, and then you're going to learn this, you're going to learn this lesson, and then you're going to go on to the next season. You have no idea why you're in the season. You don't know how you ended up in the season, and it seems like the season has been going on for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And so going into 2024, you may be lost. You may be just kind of pissed off at yourself, honestly. Hello, happy holidays. How are you? So we're talking about some things that we're going to dive deep into how you can massively change your 2024. And this is real. Like, this isn't like, I don't know, like fluff. And there is so much of that on the internet. And I get it, because, the fluff goes viral, and, one person does something and then everybody else is like, okay, well, that's working. And then everyone's doing it. But this is like, if you are catching this live, I'm really excited for you, because I am going to unlock some things for you to actually massively change your life next year, and actually get the body, actually start the business, actually just level up your thinking, right? So here's the thing. And again, this is a Q&A. So as we're going, I'm happy to pause and answer any of your questions. We do not have to wait till the end of the video to answer any questions. If there's just a question in general about health, fitness, mindfulness, feel free to pop in the question and I will answer that. But in general, if I don't see any questions, then I'm going to go ahead and just discuss the unlocking. So when you are thinking a thought, right? Like, I even brought my pad. This is going to be a thing. So you can even do this exercise with me, or you can, watch it on the replay and then pause it and do it. So when there's something that you want, right? There's a desire, right? So there's a desire, right? And there's all these things in the desires, right? There's the body of our dreams, there's food, there's travel, there's, maybe sports. Like, it's just your desires, right? They're right here. Okay. And you're trying to figure out how to get it into the world, like into material reality. This is supposed to be the world. Okay. You're trying to figure out how to get the desires that are like up in the air, up in dreamland, down to here, to where you're actually experiencing them, right? This is you experiencing your desires. Okay. And let's just say for 2020, at the beginning of 2023, you were there, right? So this is you last year. This is you last year. This is 2023. And this is you super excited, okay, about all these desires that you have that are going to manifest and come in and experience them for 2023. But what's happening is you're going into 2024 and you're still up here, right? Like there's still dreams, there's still hopes, there's still desires, right? And so what happens is a lot of times what do we start doing? Again, you guys are more than welcome to add in. What we start doing is self-sabotage, right? We start going into a spiral about what was me, victimhood, right? We start going into like all the reasons why like things just didn't happen because it was everybody else, right? It was the world, it was everybody else, it was my job, it was my boyfriend, it was my girlfriend, it was my family got on my nerves, but it was all these other things, right? And so, and I'm going to answer your question about, if it's about me, I'll probably pause it till the end just because I really want this to be about you guys. But thank you for asking that. I will answer that at the end. So if you don't catch it, if you don't end up staying on, then you got to tap in with my answer at the end. But I will definitely add. Also, too, you guys know that I am not monetized yet. And that's actually one of them. I would love to be monetized in 2024. But the reason why I keep going on YouTube is just because I love it. Like, I just love getting on live and answering questions. Like, it just brings me personal joy. So that's why I've been doing it for an entire year and haven't grown much. And it just doesn't matter. The people that I'm meeting, you know, the few people that come in every month, and the conversations that I'm having, I just love it. They're real. They're actually changing. You know, we're actually talking about life-changing things. We're actually diving in deep. Like, it's fine. But I have had a couple of you, you know, say, hey, you know, you don't have a super chat. Like, what's going on? It's because I'm not monetized yet. But it's happening. But in the meantime, if it's on your heart, if you do want to send a donation in, I do have my Cash App, and it's pinned in the comment section. So it's CianaSingh. It's just my profile name, CianaSingh, with the money sign. So if anyone feels compelled, but I just want to throw that out there. Okay, so you can do this whole exercise with me. So you were here 2023, but then now 2024, you're going into 2024 and you're still here. And so you're wondering, like, why? Like, what is my problem? Or you start again going down the reasons why you had nothing to do with it, right? Like, something might have happened. And then let's just say maybe some things really did happen. Like, maybe you had a death in the family or something like that. Those are understandable things, and you just spiraled. So in that case, give yourself grace, right? Like, you had a tough year and you learned a lot, and maybe you're grieving or whatever. But if that's not really the case, and you really know that it's things that were in your control, I'm going to teach you right now how to bring your goal into the material. And it's a lot easier than you think. And I'm going to use me writing an ebook as an example of this, because I was like spinning my wheels about writing an ebook. And now I could write an ebook in 48 hours. It took me like 4 or 5 months to write one 40-page ebook. And I learned so much from it, but it exists now. It's up, it's ready. If anyone wants to get it, you can get it in the bio. Like, if you're trying to lose weight, if it benefits you, if you're on that fitness journey. But that was sitting up in my desire. So these are my desires. And one of them was an ebook, right? And so this is me, right? This is Ciana with the big curly hair, right? So I have a bunch of desires, but this was one of them. Don't say the pen's going out on me. Come on. Okay. So this is the desire section. And one of them was an ebook. Now, this is me thinking about, I want to write an ebook. I want to write an ebook. I want to write an ebook. So that could be you. Like, I want to get the body of my dreams. I want to manifest more money. I want to learn how to trade stocks. I want to, you know, travel more. I want, like, all these thought bubbles, right? So here's Earth. Like, this is where you experience these things. Okay, so, and then you have a direct portal to God. But if you don't believe in God, it's a practical thing. You are in control of your life, right? So what do you start to do? Now, most people, what they start to do is they start going through all the reasons why they can't do it. Okay, so for the ebook, it's like, okay, that's going to take a lot of time, right? It's going to take a lot of effort, right? It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take, I have no energy. I'm lazy. I'm too busy. The too busy is a huge one, right? So what happens is you end up having all these desires, but then simultaneously most people are doing this, right? They are already stopping this from even ever being able to float down to here to experience it on earth, right? So how do we stop this? What do we do, right? Because you don't want to go back into 2024 with the same, like just the same, being in the same spot, right? Or even backwards. So this is what you do. It's very practical. Yes, there's some spirituality in it, and that's just part of who I am, but it is very practical what you can do. So mine again was the ebook. So you can do this with anything. This is called chunking it down. But I know a lot of people say this stuff and like there's just speaking about it, and then you might take notes because you're taking the video seriously on YouTube, or maybe you just hear it in the car or like while you're cooking or something, and then you don't really like actually do the exercise. So, or people don't actually show you what they mean by chunking it down, right? They're just like, think of the thing that you want and then write it out, and then start to check it off. There's more to that is true. That's part of what we're going to do, but there's more to it than that. So let me show you. So what you want to do is, mine was the ebook, right? Now I wanted it to be an actual real thing. So how do I make an ebook that seems overwhelming? It seems like, first I just have to believe. How good can you draw pictures? Well, you can see it's I'll let you be the judge. What do you need to do to so you have the desire of the ebook. Now, what do you need to do, right? So you put your desire down. So if it's the body of your dreams, if it's finding a relationship of your dreams, if it's building wealth, why, first of all, why don't you have it? So let's do that first. So we want to understand and dive deep into why we don't have it yet, right? So maybe, we felt like we didn't have time. Is that in our control? Yes. Maybe we feel like it costs a lot of money. Okay, so then maybe you do research and you find out it doesn't really cost a lot of money. It's actually, you could do it for free. So then boom, right? So you would just want to go into your why. So that's number one. Let's just figure out like why we don't have it, and then that way we can just get a gauge of like where we're at with it, right? So if it's a relationship, if maybe you went through a breakup, okay, well, you haven't gotten another relationship. Are you still healing, right? Maybe you don't know how to heal, right? Maybe you've been too nervous to heal. Maybe you just haven't unlocked that for yourself. Like you just like being in the funk of like not being in another relationship and wallowing on the last one, right? Maybe it's wealth building, right? Maybe you're like, I want to learn how to trade stocks, right? Well, why don't you already? Why don't you already know that? Oh, well, I just feel like it's not something that's in my reach. Well, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, well, so write down all your limiting beliefs that come up, right? So put the why, and in here we're going to put limiting beliefs. Okay, so that's number one. So again, you could do this with me right now or on the replay. So that's number one. Okay, so the first one is why. So I'm going to actually put this down so that way, so it's going to be why, and then also / limiting beliefs. So we can understand where we're at. So that's number one. I'm going to put this over here so that way. Okay, number two. Okay, so number two. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have about, things for you, right? Like if you have a question about health, fitness, mindfulness, spirituality, or just like, you have a personal question that you just feel like because you watch my videos, I would be a person that could actually help you resolve something or answer a question. So anything about me, I love it, but let's make it about you guys right now. So, okay, so first of all, why? Second thing is, what does it take to write an ebook, right? Or what does it take to get in a relationship? What does it take to start to build wealth? What does it take to do all that? It takes knowledge, right? So imagine, again, you're sitting there and you're thinking all these things out, and then you're writing it into physical material. This is how you start to bring it onto the planet. Like by you physically writing it out is starting the physical material manifestation. That's how everything's been built, right? Like buildings, it's like in a mind, and then you start to like brainstorm and do a blueprint, and then you start to like piece it together where it makes sense, and then you start to like do each action. So you have your why, your limiting beliefs. You got to get rid of your limiting beliefs first. Okay. So let's get in front of that. Now that's out, right? So you write out all your, like literally, I don't care if it's 100, like no one has to see it. You can throw it away later. But if it's like, I just feel dumb, I don't feel like I'm worthy. I told one friend one time that I want to write an ebook and they laughed at me. Like write down every reason why you have a limiting belief about the particular desire that you have, which mine was an ebook. Mine, I just was straight up like, I felt like it was so, let me get some, my tea. My lemon tea, excuse me, I'm talking too fast. So mine, I just felt like it was going to be super, like a lot of work, which it was, and it wasn't at the same time. But I felt like, excuse me, my throat's like dry from talking so fast. That's why I brought my tea. Okay, so I just felt like, number one, I felt like it was like an essay. I didn't want to feel like I was in college again writing an essay. I just was putting all these blocks on it, like it's going to take a lot of time. Well, I don't really know how to use Canva. Well, I don't really know how to do this. And it was like every single thing that I said was all in my control. Every single thing. So once I wrote down all the limiting beliefs and turned them into like in my control, and I was like, okay, I can actually do all this. This is a lot, but it's actually in my control. So let me just start to chip away at it. So then the next thing is you need the education, right? For whatever it is you're trying to get. So whether it's like wealth, whether it's maybe you want to get the body of your dreams, whether you just want to learn how to eat better, right? So then what can you do to start to educate yourself? Okay. So again, we're bringing the desire or the dream into physical reality by writing it out in your phone in the note section, or I prefer like just see how you're not overthinking it. Like you can just like scribble. So educate yourself, that is in our control, right? We all have access to the internet. You could go to Starbucks for free and use their internet. If you're like, I'm literally, don't even have the internet. Well, if you're watching me right now, you're watching me on someone's internet. So go back over there and use their internet and educate yourself, right? So there's tons of free education out there with everything. Like you guys already know that. I don't have to explain that. So then once you start to so for example, with my ebook example, I educated myself like, well, how to write an ebook, like literally just how to write an ebook. Or if it was, I wanted to start a business, literally how to start a business, right? And then all these things pop up. Udemy, the Udemy platform, it's UDEMY, is a great platform to learn how to do really anything. Obviously YouTube, but Udemy, you do have to pay for the courses, but it's within they're very affordable. Again, YouTube, TikTok is fantastic. I mean, it's just, people are like gung-ho about TikTok. Like they are ride or die behind TikTok and the information that you can really learn on there, because people, like, it's just like I don't know how it went from like a dancing app to like worldwide news, but that's just what it is now. So you can really learn how to start a business, do whatever. So educate yourself, right? So now you've educated yourself. Okay, so you write that down on a whole other piece of paper, like everything. Okay, so say if you want a relationship, well, maybe you got to improve some stuff with yourself, right? So start looking up therapists, start looking up relationship experts, look up relationships that you admire on the internet, or maybe you the best would be in your environment. But if you have literally not one, there's hundreds of them on the internet. You just have to go digging. And if you see their life and they're talking about their life, then start to really dig into how and why they're where they're at. Usually, like when I look up stuff like that, a lot of them have to do with, they're very grounded in spirituality. So maybe, you know, you've been dating the same person over and over. Whatever. I'm not a relationship expert, but I'm just saying, like, there is, once you got the education, then you can start to implement the education, right? Like so let's just say we're going to start to, well, let's just say write out, steps and implementation. Let me actually write it neater here. So education, and then steps and implementation. See how this is really pretty much technically all been done for free so far? So, okay. So now we have the steps, okay? So again, this could be applied to anything. If you're already doing this, like if you're watching this video and you're already doing this self-sabotage, like, well, no, what? Again, you might need to go back up to, if you're already if we got to step 3 and you're already doing the self-sabotage again, you need to go back up to step 1. You need to go back up to step 1 and really dig in. And it might take you a week to do step 1. But again, that's okay, because we're actually trying to make a shift. Like, we're actually creating a new reality. We're not just like doing this for fluff, doing this because it's a cute little exercise and like you expect to be literally a millionaire with the person of your dreams and the body of your dreams like in a month because you like did. No, we're really digging deep. So if you're already doing this self-sabotage, like when you get to the steps part, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is going to take a long time, or oh my gosh, slow down, go back up to all your limiting beliefs. It's not going to take a long time. It's going to take steps that will take time, but it doesn't have to be if it's going to take a long time, like that's how I was with the ebook. With the ebook, I was like, oh my God, this is going to take so long. So it took me 5 months. When now hindsight 2020, that damn ebook could have took me 48 hours to make, literally 48 hours. But I just was like overwhelming myself with it. Like, and all the ebook pretty much wrote itself. It was already written. I just had to like put it in the Canva template and then learn how to upload it to a website. Like, it just, the stuff that we do to ourselves. So I don't want you to do this. And again, a lot of us are doing this with tons of different areas of our life, and it just doesn't have to be that way. So once you're in the steps section, don't necessarily number the steps yet, but just write out steps, right? So like, for example, okay, learn how to use Canva. That was like me with the ebook. Learn how to use Canva. And if you're like, what is this ebook? If someone new that's finding me, it's my How to Lose Fat ebook guide. It's everything that I've done to get in shape, stay slim, stay lean. Everything's there. Check it out. It's in a link in the description. So learn how to use Canva. What else was copywriting? I was like so overwhelmed with copyright. I was like, oh my God, like the government, and do I need the fees and the legalities? I just was like literally creating all these like prison blocks like in my head, and like none of it existed. All I had to do was just learn. So copyright, right? So let's just say there was like, just for the sake of time, and yours could be something different, there was like 20 steps. I'm just going to write it out, 20 steps. Okay. So let's just say there was 20 steps with the steps. Then you look at the steps. Okay. So we didn't number them yet. We didn't put them in order, but you look at the steps, right? And you're like, okay, which one is the most urgent? Which one is the most urgent out of the 20 steps that I put down? Okay. So once you start to really look at it, you'll say, okay, well, this one's kind of like number 1. Okay, copywriting is not super important right now because I haven't even written the book. So that can stay like at the bottom. Okay, I need to write the book. You know, I just need to like write notes. In my case, mine was already written out because it was like, how I was able to write the ebook guide was I just kept, people kept asking me questions and I was DMing them the same thing over and over. And I decided to make that a little bit more organized and put it into an ebook. So it was like already stuff that was working. So but for you, if you want to create an ebook, you could say, okay, well, I need to just like write it out. Like I need to brainstorm about what I want to write about, right? So you might want to do the brainstorming process first, because you don't even need to learn Canva if you don't have no information to put in Canva yet, right? or you can brainstorm in the Canva, right? So let's just say you want to learn Canva, or your first step is healing because you want to get in a relationship, or your first step is okay, you're on your fitness journey, wherever you're at, if you're beginner, intermediate, or you're advanced, maybe you're like, you know, I just need to, like, it just depends on where you're at in the fitness journey. That could be the very vast amount of answers there. But let's just say for me, I would say I'm on the higher end of intermediate. And like sometimes like I'll go through times where I'll just kind of fall off for like 2 weeks. And so I'll then write out like what I need to do. Okay, so I need to clean out the refrigerator. Let me get rid of the junk food. Like let me get a game plan for what I want to do for the week on my workouts. Let me write it out. Like I start to get organized. So just wherever you're at, right? So all the steps are written out. You want to then put them in order of important and urgent. Okay, urgent is number one, but also important. So for this instance, mine was already written out. So then I learned Canva. I didn't know how to use Canva. I didn't know. I had to use it like a couple times, but I didn't know you could write an ebook on it. I had no idea. So I spent like a week just learning Canva, right? Like I just went on YouTube, looked up free tutorials. There's ones, again, you can go on Udemy. I'm sure the Udemy platform for courses and learn, or you can just take the time to do your research and learn. I may actually even do like a step-by-step free tutorial. But that's what I did. Okay. So then I went, so that all 20 steps, I ordered them. Okay. And then what you do from there is you execute each step. Okay. Of course, you're going to have bumps that come up, right? There's going to be things that come up where you're like, oh, well, I don't know how to do copywriting, right? And I'm just overwhelmed by it. Like, who do I call? What do I do? Like, okay, I called this one number, that number doesn't work. Let me just go on YouTube. Okay, I've looked at 5 different YouTubes. Okay, let me just Google. Okay, let me just start, like, type in how to copyright a book. Okay, and you know what I mean? Like, you might have to, like, do some research. So you might have to do, like, some step number 2 while you're executing one of the steps, right? And that's okay. So you write it out. Now, it depends on where you're at in your journey. Like if you want to, like for me, I was so overwhelmed with writing an ebook, which it just makes me laugh now, that I did not put a timeline on myself. I said, I was like, I want to make sure it's done by the end of the year. And that was like August 2023. And I did it. I created the book before the year was done. So I was proud of myself on that. I'm sorry, August 2022. I said I want to make sure it's done by 2023. So that's what I did. But for you, you could actually then put a timeline on yourself. Now, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. Be realistic, give yourself grace. And again, you have life going on at the same time that you're trying to manifest this new desire, right? And bring it into material reality. So don't do too much. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions if you want me to pause, or if there's any questions so far on anything that I've discussed, definitely let me know. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to like, even if you want to, you know, ask about health or fitness, or like you have a personal question that you feel like sharing, I'm happy to answer it for you if you feel like I'm the right person that can deliver a useful answer because you've watched my other videos. So you execute each step. I would suggest to put a timeline on it so that way you hold yourself accountable, and even tell someone that you really trust who's not going to shoot your hopes and dreams down. In that case, for me, I'm super blessed that I was able to really lean on my mom with that, like, and say, hey, you know, so then she would like hold me accountable, just the fact that she knew I had this goal. Let me take another quick sip. My lemon tea. Okay, so execute each step. This is what's wild about what happens is that once you start to do all of this, and again, if you're just hopping on, you can watch the replay, the desire will start to feel so real that you're already living in the feeling of it. So like when I was like at the point where I was like 2 or 3 pages in on writing my ebook on Canva, because I had figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have an ebook. Like, how cool is that? Like I actually took something, excuse me, from my brain, and it's going to be like something, well, it's an ebook, but I could turn it into a paperback if I wanted to. I may just print one out, like get one made just to like be able to show you guys. But like, oh my gosh, I have this physical ebook. Like that's like, I'm going to have it. Like it's happening. So that's what's going to start to happen when you start to execute each step. So you no longer start to think about the desire as like something so far away out. And remember the other picture where this is the earth. Remember how like, so here's earth down here and you're trying to bring the desire down to earth. Well, when you start to do this, it no longer feels like you're so far out in the ether, right? It starts to feel like this is materializing. So then you start to gain confidence, then you start to gain momentum, then you start to gain just like, you know, your self-esteem starts to go up. You do less and less self-sabotaging. And while you're going through all of this, you're going to learn a lot about your friends, your family, yourself. Some friends, like if you're really, we're not talking about fluffy stuff here. Like we're talking about actually shifting into another area of your life that you really want to do, you really want to experience. So you may like lose friends, you may have to tell people no, you may get backlash for that. Like you're gonna, and then you may, oh my gosh, well, I feel bad. You're gonna learn a lot about yourself, and it's really gonna stretch you, and you're gonna have to learn how to be stretched, and you're gonna have to learn these new levels of attributes or levels of boundaries so that way you can get to your next level. Because sometimes a lot of people will be blessed with something and then they fumble it. It disappears because they don't have the capacity to set boundaries to be able to withhold the desire that manifested, right? So there's going to be a lot. Like I know that this list is like, okay, do this, do that. But like as you start to really implement it, there's a lot that's going to come up during your journey. Okay. So just be aware of that. Embrace it. It's part of your level up. It's part of you shifting into this new identity. And also too, what I want to also say too, so I'm actually going to, I'll probably like write this out and put it like in my community tab on like the steps. But once you execute each step, it's materialized. It is just now here. Now it may not take just 2 weeks. It may take 6 months of 2024. It may take 8 months of 2024. So you may not see this manifestation until September, but it's a manifestation you'll have for life, right? So like it took me 5 months to write the ebook, but I have the ebook for life. I learned how to build my own website for life. I learned how to create my own domain name for life. I learned how to copyright for life, right? So that 5 months of like being in like the trenches of that, I have those skills now. Like I'm embodied with those. That's why my page is called EBOOK. We're constantly in pursuit, right? Not like just, oh, we're going after it, or, you know, we're taking the steps, we're trying. No, pursue is like, it's happening. Like your momentum is going in that direction and nothing can stop you. So we're constantly in pursuit of embodying your next level. So it's embody pursuit. And then once you embody that next level, then you're going to the next level, right? So like we're constantly embodying new layers, new skills, new, you know, strengths, new power from God, from the universe, from ourselves, from our experiences. And then you just are this big embodiment of like this new reality, or this life that you've always wanted for yourself, right? But you're not going to be able to hold the manifestations. You're not going to be able to hold the weight of what you're embodying if you don't embody it all the way. So you could be, you know, oh yeah, that's totally me, or I know how to do that. And then all of a sudden you like have a meltdown. Well, you're not embodied then. You're not embodied with it. So we're on the pursuit of it, right? We're constantly in pursuit of our next levels, of our next embodiment. So like with me, I'm embodied with health, fitness, and mindfulness. Like it is just, you can't shake me with it. I don't care if something happens. My grandma passed away. That did not stop my health journey. That did not stop my fitness journey. It put some bumps in the road, but that didn't stop me. right? Because I'm embodied with, that's who I am. So that's what I want for you. I want you to become embodied with this one. So pick one. I would suggest one. If you're feeling confident, you can, maybe pick a couple, but I would suggest, again, if you're really not happy with where you're at and you feel like you're in the same position you were in a year ago and you're going into the next year with the same desires and they didn't manifest, I would pick one and go hard with that one and embody that and then go to the next one. What's your question? Handful of things done daily creates wild success. And a handful of things avoided on a daily basis will create struggle. Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. That's so true. So, and this is another thing too, when you're on this journey, you really are going to want to make sure to get wildly focused. And I'm going to tell you really quick how you can do that. So people say that all the time, right? You gotta focus, you gotta concentrate. And so I was in that. I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to focus and create this ebook, right? And then I would go to focus and I would just like start to go on Instagram, or I would like start to self-sabotage, or I would start like wandering in my mind, or I would start to like make an excuse to go to the kitchen and get a snack, or I just would start to like sabotage it, right? So what you want to do, true focus, it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes or if it's 5 hours. If you just have unwavering focus for an amount of time, you can get more done than 90% of the people. So what I mean is, let's just say you realistically can only be focused for 2 hours. Like that's just what it is. You have kids, or maybe you're in a relationship and like your spouse wants attention, or maybe you are, working long hours and you know that, okay, I can really only focus for 1 hour. But go hard with that 1 hour, okay? Go hard with that 1 hour. No internet. Put your phone on do not disturb. No snacks. Close yourself up. Put on your concentration music, piano music. Like for some reason, piano music, whenever I'm hearing it, kind of like very little, like very low in the background, it like keeps my brain stimulated without like knocking me out of focus. It actually pushes me into focus. So I know what works for me. So if I'm like, look, today I'm going to do my ebook, but I know that I only have about an hour and a half in me. So I'll even set an alarm and the phone will be away from me. No one can call me. No one can talk to me. And to be honest, even if there was an emergency and my phone was on silent, I'll know in 90 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you really got to like just lock in, like, oh, well, what if someone calls? You can't be available to everybody all the time. Like, remember, if you're like an older millennial and up, we all remember the time where you weren't available to everybody. Like you kind of just had to bump into somebody at the grocery store. You had to page them, or and then, yeah, we had cell phones, but it was like, there wasn't this urgency to like, I have to text them back right now. Like it just wasn't, we're so like driven by bells and whistles and notifications and feeling like we have to like be available for all that. No, turn off all the notifications. So if it's only 30 minutes, let it be the most highly effective focused 30 minutes. And I guarantee you, because instead of, this is what people do. And I did this too. This is how I learned to like start to like really harness my focus. I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to work on my ebook and listen to a podcast. So, so I'm casually working on my ebook, and then I'm listening to podcast after podcast after podcast, and then I'm pausing and my focus is broken. Pausing, focus is broken, pause. So then it'd be 5 hours, and then I only did like half of one of the steps. But if I would have just locked in for 40 minutes, one step would have been knocked out 100%, and I can just move on to the next step. So just be really real, dial in, like be highly focused for that 38 minutes that you're committing to. Okay. You can do it. Like don't be so beholden to the internet or beholden to social media or beholden to other people that you can't block out 38 minutes for yourself to have laser focus on one thing and get, even if it's like step one, but like there's three bullets in step one. We'll try to like commit yourself. Okay, in this 38 minutes, the first little, like, if it's step one and then there's A, B, C, A is going to be done today. Like 1A is not going over to the next day. Like that is done. What do you pay attention to? Get more of, It's important to structure. Wait. What you pay attention to, get more of structure. Wait, I don't know why. Get more of, so it's important to structure your life. Yeah, absolutely. That is huge. Like if you are, see, there's so many again, remember when you're doing this, you're going to learn about your journey. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. So during this, and again, for those of you that are hopping on, I'm happy to answer any questions, anything that you guys have. So when you're on your journey, you may find that you need to declutter your house, right? Like it could be you manifesting like something about stocks, but like in that journey, you're like, okay, well, I need to get more organized. Okay, why am I not organized? Okay, well, I feel like I have so much to do around the house. Okay, well, let's just focus on the house then. Like, right? Like you need to just like purge some things out of your house. I went through that journey about 4 years ago with my mom and my grandma. She passed away. And so, but she passed away last year, but leading up to her passing, the purging had to happen, right? So like, I didn't even think about an ebook. I didn't think about my YouTube. I didn't think about, I just was like, my life and my mom's life and my grandma's stuff that she's going to end up like leaving behind as she transitions, that all needs to be sifted through. There was over a century of stuff, you guys, over one whole century, 100 years of stuff from my great grandma that all was going to fall onto me and my mom. And so before I could even dream big or think about my YouTube or think about starting a business or thinking about an ebook, so just to let you know, like things, as you're manifesting your desires and writing out lists, and you're going to start to see what else is taking up time in your life. Like, are you going to happy hour getting hammered? Can you not wait for Friday night so you can get it popping at the club? Can you can't, itching to go to the bar? Like, then you got to like get in front of yourself why you're doing that. Like, is it not worth your time invested in yourself to like just maybe not go to the bar for a month? The bar's always going to be there. There's always going to be a drink at every corner. Like, just scale back a little bit and like give yourself a fighting chance to really start to attack this. So again, I'm happy to answer any other questions that you guys have. So you execute each step and then it's done. Complete. Literally, that's it. That's it. Now, there is some things like, now, if you're wanting to do this for like a relationship, there's obviously going to be some things out of your control. Like you can't just like, okay, well, now at the end of 2024, I expect to have a boyfriend or expect to have a girlfriend, I expect to be married. Well, like, of course that's in God's hands, or, you have to meet the right person. But what you do have control over is yourself, right? So you're turning into the person that is a perfect person that would be a great partner. Maybe you're not happy with like your physical appearance. Okay, so your physical appearance is, you're stepping that up. Maybe you're not, maybe that you have like issues with like just being hot-headed or argumentative, or you just have like a lot of trauma. So you can control that. So even though you may not, at the very end, you may not, you may be at the end of 2024, and I'm just saying in general, like using this formula for that, but you will be such a great candidate to be with somebody that like, you're just gonna be so happy that you're like leveled up in life. You're not gonna even worry about a partner, and then all of a sudden they just blip into your life. That's how it usually works for most people. Okay, so you said, also, it's good to ask yourself, what has to die for you to become a new version of yourself? The feeling of the old. That could be distractions such as addictions, bad habits, friends. My life changed completely when I started working out. You learn a lot. I love it. Same here. When I lost 30 pounds 8 years ago and never gained it back, I learned so much about myself, and I learned about my body. I learned about my soul, learned about my mind. I learned about how I tick. Like, going into like, as you continue to go into each decade of your life, new things are happening, right? New problems, new responsibilities, new things. So fitness really helped me out with that, and my spirituality journey. I've always been spiritual since I was born onto the planet. I have a mom that is Black, and I have a dad that is Punjabi, and he practices Sikhism. So I wasn't escaping spirituality or God or any of that. But my own personal journey started 10 years ago. So that spirituality and fitness really changed the game for me too. But it does, you're so right. You learn a lot about what you have to cut off. And a lot of times, like, you may think you want something and you're willing to cut off everything else but that one thing to like have this over here. But like, this is what's keeping you. So it's the thing you actually enjoy, right? So say, for example, like mine was sugar. I was obsessed with sugar, still am, but I'm able to keep it at bay now. And like, I was like, okay, well, whatever. Like, instead of having dinner, I'll just have my donuts. Like, that's, I'll just swap out the calories. And I was like, looking in the mirror, and I just was like, I just keep not getting to my next level because I just refuse to admit that I cannot have a lot of sugar. Like, I have to go months and months without sugar. And that's just what it is. And so once I finally like got over that and just admitted that to myself, I was able to like start to get the body closer to what my dreams, I'm still on that journey of what I want to look like, but like, I'm so happy with myself. And it was because I actually left sugar alone for, I just buckled down. What else are you saying? How would you describe your spirituality? So, this is me personally. I don't put any of my beliefs or any of my ideologies or any of my experiences or the way I view spirituality on anybody else. A lot of times when I speak about God, I'll notice in the comments people will like talk about the Bible and talk about Jesus and talk about, well, God is the only way, or the Bible is the only way, or Christianity is the only way. Well, from my lens, just to give you guys a quick backstory about me, I'm half Black, half Punjabi. I don't know of any other mix that is like such a rare, unique mix. So like not a lot of people can vibe with me or empathize with me, right? Like I don't have the journey of like a half Black, half white person or a half Black, half Mexican person. Those mixes are all over the place, especially in California. But being Black and Punjabi is a very, like, I literally only have met one other human being in person, and it was a guy, and that was like well into my adult life. And it was like in passing, like we were in a group and he's like, you're Black, I'm Punjabi, so am I. We didn't really talk about our struggles or our, perspective, right? So just to give you some context there, because of that, I saw the way that the Lord Jesus Christ can sow blessings and grace into your life, and you sowing seeds and reaping and everything in the Bible, all, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, like, Revelations, like all that, right? I grew up Christian and I grew up with Sikhism. So talk about polar opposite, right? And they're really not, I take that back. They're not opposite. It's just different methods of like connecting to the divine. So then visiting my dad, I would go to the Gurdwara. I would go to the Darbar Sahib, which is the door, the house of God, right? The door into God, right? You don't socialize with people there. You meditate. Everything's spoken in Punjabi, which I don't know how to speak Punjabi, but I'm on that journey. It's very sacred. It's very calm. You have to wash your hands before you enter. You're barefoot. Men and women sit on separate sides. When you go to a church, after church, everyone's socializing, everyone's smiling, everyone's going to lunch together. It's not like that. So I would say because I had such polar opposite, meaning like not polar opposite, but just what's the right word to say? Like, because I had a dual perspective consistently at the same time, I know that it doesn't matter what path you take. How I view spirituality is God is like the ocean. God is the ocean. And then, how there's rivers, there's these major rivers in the world, Mississippi River, the Nile River, there's seas, lakes, river bends and all that, right? And so each river bend, each sea is a religion or a spiritual path, right? But it all ends up in the ocean. It all ends up just connecting to God. That's how I see it. So I can go to a Christian church. I don't go to church, but like if I was invited to a church, and I felt aligned to go that day, I could go and I could feel the Spirit of God, right? Like I'm pretty comfortable with my connection to God. Like I have an open portal that I've really I did a lot of introspection and learned how to open that telephone up to God, right? So when I go into any environment now, I can feel if divinity is touching that thing, right? Touching that environment, touching that event, touching that church, right? Because you can go to one church and it can feel really weird, fake, crazy, like just like scammy. But then you can go to another church and you can feel like you just got blessed by just even parking in the parking lot, right? So same thing with the Dabar Sahibs. There's a few I've been to where it just feels very cold and like not inviting and just very judgy. And then I've gone to another one where it's like it just seems like you just walked into a sea of angels and they just all want to like feed, there's food and it just feels so like calm and your spirit feels very rested by just entering. So, I've traveled to Egypt. It's a Muslim country. I felt divinity all up and through Egypt, right? I've been to China. Buddhism was, when in the environment that I was in, there was Buddhism practices all over the place. You could feel the divinity. Like if you're connected to God, you can go in environments and feel the divinity of those connections with certain individuals. So that's the whole, I don't want to give you a fluffy short answer like, oh yeah, I pray and meditate and I'm not necessarily religious, but no, I wanted to give you like a whole real shebang. So I am very spiritual. Everything I do is like, I feel like it's a calling from God. Even if it's talking about health, fitness, and mindfulness, right? Like that's why I do what I do with YouTube. Again, I'm not monetized yet. That's one of my manifestations that, I'm hoping that will materialize next year. But that's my reality. So, also I think it's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way and what works for you. Absolutely. Amazing qualities in both religions. The door to God sounds dope. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's like when you go to the Dabar Sahib, it's like you pull up, everybody's, you have to cover your head. Everybody's like real, people of course are saying hello, but it's not like, hi, how are you? Oh my gosh. Like how you can do it like a Christian church, like where it's very like animated. There's a lot of like human to human connectedness. When you're going to the Dabar Sahib, it's more like you are connected to the divine when you enter into the temple. When you enter into the doors of God, it's like it's just you and God, even though there's other human beings there and you're all in this like energy together and you're meditating together. So of course, and it's the same thing like at church, it's like you're praying together, you're singing together. There's still divinity, right? Like there's still source energy. There's still the God's grace is just like all up and through certain churches, right? You can feel it if you're connected and you have your own relationship with God. So like if I were to say I'm a religion, I'm God's religion. That's the religion I am. So I'm the religion of God. Like so that's what it is. That's just I love that I have that dual perspective because I feel like it gave me it was very easy for me to like be open-minded because I just grew up in two very, very different cultures, but then there's actually a lot of similarities that most people wouldn't even think were similar between Punjabi people and Black people. Especially the dancing, the eating, like the food's not the same, but like the love around that kind of stuff is like the same. So that's pretty much how you got to manifest. Don't show up to 2024 and then be in December 2024 and just be in the same spot. Like just don't do it to yourself. Like execute on one thing. Like you may have 50 desires, but like go hard with one thing. And it's crazy because once you go hard with one thing, you end up kind of like knocking out 3 things when you do the one thing. And you'll see what I mean. So like, for example, like I wanted a website. Well, because I wanted my ebook, I needed something to sell it on. And I'm not on Amazon. I am going to end up putting my, my thing on Amazon, but my book on Amazon. but I'm not on Amazon, so I needed my own website. So now I have my own website. I learned how to build a website, right? And then now, you know, I have my YouTube. My YouTube is like, I have momentum on my YouTube. So it was like, because I went after the ebook, it like propelled me like into executing 3 other desires. So I ended up like knocking out 4 desires, like in one focus with one desire, if that makes sense. So let me know if there's any other questions or any other, you know, anything else. Again, if anyone feels called to like donate to my channel, I do have my Cash App. It's pinned, it's CianaSingh, it's pinned in the comments. So just throwing that out there. Some of you guys have emailed me or reached out to me, and I really appreciate it. So I just wanted to announce that, that CianaSingh is there in the pinned comments. Is there any other questions, any other things about like spirituality, about mindfulness, wellness, anything that you're struggling with in those areas that I can help you resolve? Also too, while anyone's thinking of any questions or feels comfortable, it says, we are of a like mind on the religion God. Sounds like you are letting nothing go to waste to, sorry, this little heart is in the way, which is nice. Waste in terms of learning from experiences. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's like, you know, I think that, I don't know if any of us will be alive to like see the fruits of this, but I think the world is going toward that way anyway. Like there's so many people mixed. There's so many people, we have access to the world now. Like I'm global right now. Like from Los Angeles, California, I am now global. I can talk to somebody in Australia. I mean, if you guys want to just drop where you guys are from, that would be dope actually. Like what state or what country. Like I looked at my analytics and there's people in the UK watching me. There's people in India. I mean, that's wild. There's people in Canada. There's people in like, where was it? It was like somewhere, it was like Thailand or something. And I was like, that is just like, how is my page even getting there? So I think that's like really, really dope. You know, so I love that I was born into such a unique set of circumstances that I feel like I've been able to really massively help people, because of course, if we're all born with a limiting belief. Like it just is, like right when you're born, you're told no on something. So that becomes a limitation, right? Or in our culture, we don't do that, what they do. But like, because I was always going back and forth in between such different lifestyles, I just was like, oh, like it kind of all works. Like there's not really one right way to do things. There's thousands of right ways, because that's just my 2, right? Black and Punjabi. But then there's all the different African cultures, all the different states in India. They have their different cultures, all the different Chinese cultures, like all, you know, it just keeps going. So there's hundreds of thousands of different cultures. So I was like, oh, there's multiple things. You can do the same thing multiple different ways, and it's still you still end up with the same outcome. Like you can follow Christianity and still have a beautiful, fruitful, godly life. You can follow Sikhism and still have a beautiful, fruitful, godly life. You can be a Catholic and still have a beautiful, fruitful, godly life. Like it just depends on what you resonate with. And a lot of people are not connected in their heart space. They're very like heavy and they're very cluttered in their, you know, mind, body, soul, all your chakras, you know, or even if you're thinking about from the Christian lens, like you're not connected to Holy Spirit. And Holy Spirit is like how you're able to like connect to like just straight up God force, like God, Jesus Christ, like when that spirit, when you're, the Holy Ghost is like clogged, you can't like hear God, right? So it's the same thing with in Sikhism. It's like the more you meditate, the more you like are still, the more you can calm your mind, the more you can let thought bubbles pass you by, the more you can hear God. So it's like, it's 2 different, you know, you're sitting meditating with no shoes on, or you can go to the Christian church where you're singing and you're connecting and you're opening up that portal, you know, to feel the Holy Ghost or whatever, right? And then within Christianity, there's different denominations. And then within Sikhism, I didn't even know this until like 2 or 3 years ago, but there's different levels. There's like different perspectives in Sikhism. I mean, it's pretty much the same, but I would say like maybe based on like region, like physical region, they might do a couple things a little differently. But I mean, even that, there's still a difference. So it says, what about a relationship that might be healthy, but you want to like move to a different city to help both you and the other person? Should you move regardless of what they think? Okay, this is my opinion. I want to premise this. There's some resources that I'm going to give you after I answer this, because I really think that, number one, I'm not sure if you're married. If you're married, that's a different set of answers. And if you're not married, that's a different set of answers. But if it's a pretty serious relationship, it sounds like, what about a relationship that might be healthy, but you want to move to a different city to help both of you? So the fact that you even want to move somewhere to help the relationship tells me that you, even if you're married or not, that you take this relationship pretty seriously, because you're thinking of the two of you. And the other let me see, a different city, both of you, and the other person, should you move regardless of what they think? So you really have to like take a deep dive and like sit down with yourself and be still and think about all the different repercussions, right? Like think about all the different scenarios that could arise. Is it, when you're in a relationship, I know being in a relationship, respect is number one. Respect and being able to compromise. And so the love is there, right? It sounds like you're very into this person. So you're in Central Texas and then near Austin, Texas. Oh, awesome. So if those two things that are crucial in relationships, if you value those things on a high level, you might need to manifest a different reality where you don't not take the other person's feelings into account, because that's the point of a relationship, right? Like a relationship is like where we're in this together, like we are relating. And so when you like, if you just completely shut down and then move, well, if you can have the conversation and communicate and really deep dive into how it's going to benefit you two, they may open up their perspective. But if it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to do this and like it's going to benefit both of us, like I'm leaving, that's not going to work, right? So of course I would need more context around what you're talking about. But in general, I'm not married. I've been in a relationship. I've been in a couple serious relationships before. I'm currently single and I'm not married. So I like to just be honest with that. I think that people should be getting relationship advice from people that are married, or like whatever scenario you want. I'm happy to still answer if you just want to know my personal opinion. I'm happy to share. But if you truly want to like deep dive, I would seek out wise counsel. I always tell people that. So I feel very, very wise in what I'm talking about with health, fitness, and mindfulness. But because I'm on my own journey, I've had, successful moments and things like that. And all of the people that I've been with before were in great standing, right? So like there's no drama. But I would really encourage you to seek out married people. It's just my opinion. Married people on YouTube that have relationship advice. Ooh, a really good one is Tony Gaskins. Tony Gaskins on here is fantastic. But there's so many YouTubes with men that are really, really giving amazing advice about serious relationships and how to communicate and all that. And then there's amazing women that are giving amazing advice about, don't look at the red pill stuff. Do not look at the red pill podcast where like it's a bunch of like 25-year-olds and 30-year-olds like screaming and yelling at each other and talking about how the other gender is like a piece of shit. Do not listen to those. That's a waste of your time. Only type in like how to communicate with my partner, or like advice from married people, like, and just like start researching. So that's just my honest answer. That's why a lot if you've been following me for a while, if you notice, I don't really deep dive into like relationships, because I don't think that people should be giving People that are single should not be giving relationship advice. However, I can give you advice on what you should be doing while you're single. I could do that excellently. So, thank you, Ciana. Unmarried. I'm Black. He's Punjabi. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. So I'm Black. He's Punjabi. Okay. Oh, wow. That's wild. That's really cool. How do you incorporate spirituality or make time on your personal task list for your spirituality? Okay, so this is a good question. That's really cool. See, I love like the internet because I don't really bump into a lot of Punjabi people other than my family in the community that I'm in Fresno. I live in LA, but my dad lives in Fresno, and that's the only time I really encounter Indian people, Punjabi people. Okay, so this is a big one. How do you incorporate spirituality? I don't. I just am it. So like I don't incorporate like, it's almost like let me like add in something or find time for something. I am spirituality. Like I am meditation. Like I am prayers. Like it's just who I am. So even right now, this is a spiritual experience. Like me helping people and igniting passion in people, or igniting motivation, or igniting a light, a spark. This is spirituality, right? So I am it. So what I do, again, this is a lifelong journey. I think that every year I'm getting better and better at it, with it. Since I started my spiritual journey 10 years ago, I know that I'm getting better and better with it every year. But if you're in a human body, like if you're in a physical, material human body, like you're always just going to be going to next levels. Like just the fact that you're in a physical human body, you're not merged with God. You're not with the divine. So just let you know that. So with spirituality, I'm always trying to do the very next thing that makes my heart feel expansive, that makes me feel like I'm listening to God's nudge, right? Or if you want to say Jesus' nudge, whoever. I'm just going to say God. I'm always, so every moment, every single second that like passes by, internally, I am like trying to listen. I'm not even trying. I am listening to the gauge of like where I'm supposed to go. Kind of like a compass, like, like north, south, east, west. And like, you kind of have to do this to like find north or wherever you're trying to go. That's what I'm doing. So of course, there's some days where I did a terrible job. Like I didn't listen to no nudges. I did what I wanted. It's got a terrible outcome, right? Some days I'm like, I feel like everything's just so aligned. Like it's just the synchronicities and serendipities and confirmations are just everywhere, right? Like I just see like the magic of life happening, and I'm like, oh my God, angel numbers. Oh my gosh, that person just said that. I just said, like, so all these like, and if you pay attention to signs and you're into that, the more, if you're receptive to that, if you're receptive to the divine speaking to you, he will, God will speak to you more in those ways. If you're like, God, I'm happy, I'm ready for a sign. Like you could see something and be like, no, that wasn't a sign. But if you pass it off, then you won't, like, that muscle for being able to like see those signs it'll become atrophied. Like you won't tap into it. But the more you just trust and believe and you go with the knowing, like, oh no, I know that was for me, then you know what I'm saying? Then like then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, God, you just spoke right to me through that person. Like, I know that was you. So that's or make time for your personal task list or person. So I hope that answers that question. I just am it. And then I just do each nudge that feels good in my heart space. And sometimes, like, I remember before my spiritual journey 10 years ago, I used to always say, I feel really heavy, like in my heart. I think because I had like an energetic block. So ever since I was able to kind of break through that, I feel like I'm able to hear God like 70% of the time very clear, 30% of the time, still working on. Yeah, 333. Yeah, angel numbers, like if they're popping up, those are signs, those are symbols, like especially when they pop up in a really weird way. Like, let me see. Okay, so for example, like on my Instagram, like you can, how you have like your posts, your followers and then who you follow. Like there's been a time where I had like 7777777 all the way across. Like what? So it was like 77 posts, and it was like 770, or it was like 7,707 followers, and then I was like following 777 people. Like at the, like it was a really, really crazy. You know what I mean? So that, I mean, if that's not speaking to, like, if you're like, oh, how cool is that? Like, they're all sevens. I'm gonna go eat a snack. Like, if you're gonna do that, then you're not listening to the signs and symbols. So, any other questions? Pay attention. Absolutely. Pay attention, and like you just, the signs and symbols are for you. Because I think a lot of times what happens is sometimes we'll see something, we'll see a sign, or we'll, something will catch our attention, and then we'll be like, oh my gosh, like we'll tell a friend or we'll tell a coworker and be like, this, okay, so the weirdest thing just happened to me. I, you know, was trying to manifest this thing, and then now there's like 5 different symbols and signs that is coming to me, and then the person's looking at you like, and then that just shuts you all the way down, right? So those symbols, those signs, they're for you. And unless you know someone is connected like that, like they're on the same frequency as you, and you guys always talk about that stuff, and if anything, they'll affirm it even more and like help you bring out even more like of that, then, you know, don't. And be okay with being sensitive. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So also too, we have 4 likes on the video. There's 6 of us here. Definitely make sure to put the thumbs up. It helps me out with the algorithm. We just live in an algorithm world. It is what it is. I feel so cheesy always doing do the thumbs up and do the, you know, subscribe, but like it's just, it's part of the YouTube like game. So make sure to do that. Also too, if you're watching this on the replay, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like. Please feel free to comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you guys also have questions on like other live video topics you want me to do, again, health, fitness, mindfulness, leadership, spirituality, do what you need to be doing during your single season in your life. You know, if you want my personal opinion on like random topics, like maybe we could talk about stuff like that. But you know, this is really for you. And so that's why that's why with the relationship stuff, I know pages go viral because, you know, it's fun to talk about relationships and why they don't work and drama and, you know, they did this or they cheated or what should I do here? And I just really think that the best piece of advice I can give with the relationship piece is you're newly single. Okay, so I'm not going to give, you know, just start giving you advice. It sounds like based on your answers, you're already on it. But like during your single season, like there's certain things that you need to be doing, and it's not listening to people that are single talking about relationships. I just think that is so interesting. The only person I would say to listen to, what's his name? Stefan Speaks. Stefan Speaks is a good one because he's speaking about something from a different level, and he's coached like several thousand people, so he has a lot of like professional advice and experience. But I think that during your single season, or if you're in a relationship, the worst thing you can do is listen to red pill content or listen to like boyfriends and girlfriends bashing each other on a podcast. Like all that stuff is trash. It's just like, it's bringing your vibration down. It's like, it's just making it worse, you know? So what ends up happening is a lot of these like podcasts that are drama and everyone's yelling at each other back and forth, they end up producing more of a society where people they're not actually hearing each other, right? Like they're not actually communicating. They're just like wanting to operate in their ego. It's all a waste of your time. Like get out there, build an empire with someone dope. If you guys are having problems, listen to solution-oriented podcasts or people. listen to married people that are living the exact life that, like, everyone that I listen to are married. I don't, all the people my age that are like doing the red pill content, I don't even, they're all like, that stuff doesn't even pop up on my feed. I'm only listening to people that are building together, traveling together, creating together, learning together, like learning to communicate, you know what I'm saying? So trying to figure out what single people be doing out here. I'm on I'm on some empire building. I'm not sure what the empire. I mean, I would say it just depends. Like if you are in your single season and you know that you need to do some work on yourself, I would say just take the time to do work on yourself. But if you're like ready to be back out there, just make it quality. Like again, it depends on where you're at, you know, and what you ultimately want to do. If you want to live your best single life, then live it up, live your best single life. But if you're like, I'm kind of ready to be in a relationship again, obviously the club is not going to be the spot. It's very tempting to go, or if you do go to the club, just know it's just going to be 4 hours of just like listening to music and like watching people get hammered. And like if that's going to give you joy for a couple minutes and that's going to give you deep joy, then cool, you know. But you know you're not going to really find like a relationship there. And it's funny because there's always an exception to the rule, right? There's always one person that found like the love of their life at the club, but that probability is so tiny that it's almost like a waste of your time to even. So what I would say is if you are in your singles, this is for anyone in general, just because I'm just feeling called to say this. If you're in your single season and you are wanting to manifest more higher quality people, not to say that there's not quality people at the club, because you could just end up at the club. Like you could be a quality person right now watching this and be like, well, I went to the club last week for my coworker's birthday or something. What I'm saying is like they're in the mind state, right? So you want to start to go to events where people are in the mind state for communicating, for networking, right? So really good spots are galas, luncheons, charity events, community events in the daytime, like a cool like farmers market or something like that. If there's a convention like where you're learning something, or it's like a self-development convention, right? Or you are let's see, a conference, right? Or maybe it's like a really dope maybe it's a really dope like restaurant where there's like quality people that are like getting off work, right? So like for example, in Beverly Hills, there's a lot of people that go to Wally's, this spot Wally's, and it's just high quality people there. Like, you know, some of them are married, some of them have relationships, but like people are in the mind state. You know, it's a wine bar. I don't even know if oh yeah, they do serve hard alcohol, but it's known for it being a wine bar. So they're already in the element of like, you know, it's not super dark. It's a really nice ambiance. There's like music, but it's not like turned up, like let's get it poppin' music. It's like just chill music. So people are already in the frequency of like, okay, you know, I'm open to like have a nice conversation with someone. So go to quality places like that where people like go after work. Also too, this is an interesting one, workspaces. So like I don't know about other cities, but in LA we have like Soho House. You do a lot of the workspaces, you do have to get memberships and be approved, but there's like workspaces. So you can you know, just Google workspaces and like, or membership clubs. And usually if someone's paying a membership somewhere, it's because they're like in a space to do that and they're like a higher quality person. Most people aren't like paying a membership just to be inside of a building, but some people know I'm going to pay that membership because of the type of people that I know are also in that building, in that, you know, space. So Soho House is a really good one. There's another one that I just came across. I don't remember the name because I just met like the owner of it. It's like somewhere in LA. But like type in member clubs, obviously the gym, golf tournaments, where else where people are like sitting, like an NBA game or an NFL game would probably be hard to like meet women. If you're a guy, meet women maybe, but that's still in the daytime where you can like actually like, oh, like they're, I don't know, you guys are both getting popcorn and you know what I'm saying, they're both getting popcorn and you're in the line and it's like you can have a conversation. It's not super loud, dark, you know, and you can't really see each other. So So those are just some what I would suggest during your single season. Make it just quality. Up level everything about yourself. Heal what you need to heal. Read, grow, be creative. Just focus on yourself. And once you're focusing on yourself, like you only start to attract not only like a potential relationship, but like just better people too, like better friends. You know, you might ignite some of your family members to up level their life. So that's what I would suggest in your single season. Maybe I'll do a whole video on that because I can speak to that because I'm just doing it myself. So, all right, well, I am gonna get something to eat. Okay, we've been on here for 80 minutes. I love it. It was a fantastic conversation. It's 5:55 right now. See, 5:55. So that means it's time for me to exit. I appreciate all of you guys. Again, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, and I love that you guys are on this journey with me. I appreciate every single person that watches my videos. I appreciate every single person that subscribes. I appreciate every single person that likes, and I also read every single comment, every single one. So even if I don't respond like quickly, I read every single one. So I really do listen. I'm happy to do videos on things that you want to transform in. I have a lot of skills. I've been a district manager, over 30 full-time people, over 400 part-time people. I'm currently the COO of a charity. I have been in tons of leadership positions in my life. I have done tons of team building. I've been captains of things. Like I just have a lot of experience with transformation and up leveling and like getting yourself to, you know, the next level or unlocking certain things and certain skills and certain talents within yourself. So I'm happy to do any videos on topics that you guys put down below in the comments, and also share. Anyone that you feel like can benefit from this video. I really want this to get in the right hands. Who's going to hear it, who's going to listen to it, and it really is going to help them. Definitely share it. It also helps me with growing my YouTube. You guys are on this journey with me, so I appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.